sold his house and both of his cars to the church. That way he's debt-free, and the church owns his property, his house, and his cars. Now, is that right or wrong, and how would you go about doing it, or what is that?
Why would I give a debt to the church? Now, the only reason he would do that would be that he would normally draw compensation for those items. Are you with me? And then he would have the church house to live in. The church would pay for it because it would normally pay for his house if the church can afford that.
Right.
See, I would never think of saddling a brand new church with, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 worth of indebtedness.
Well, that'd be like the house that the pastor always lives in, but he knows he'll only be the only pastor for that church.
But see,
always.
If you're talking about a new beginning church, that's a strain on a new building.
Well, a couple of years into it.
Well, then, yeah, you can do that. But see, I would not do that. I want my pastors and associates to own their own homes, their own cars. The church will pay for their housing allowance and a car allowance. Are you with me? That's
well, maybe that's just maybe he, not his associates, just himself. That he own his house and his cars, right. So he's debt-free.
Of the organization, legally, it would be the financial person within the church. That person is responsible for that. Then who decides whether we're going to spend money to renovate the auditorium? See, this is a large project. We're considering thousands of dollars. The normal procedure for that is the pastor is going to have the final say-so. He's going to be walking with the men that he's walking close with in his weekly staff meeting, his staff, his elders, whatever. They're walking this thing out. They've considered this thing perhaps for months and praying about it, and then they come to a decision, this is the time to move. In a situation of that size, I would have a meeting with the men of the church and sit down and say, now, this is our proposal. They've done this with building programs, land purchases, and let's talk about it. I have a plan. Usually your plan is definitive and it's right there. There will always be somebody with a real good word, good suggestion, or So we sit down and discuss it. Why are we building? What are we doing it this way for? How much it's going to cost? But we do not vote on something. Are you with me? It's not going to go up for the grabs of a vote. We are there to see whether this is feasible and whether the heartfelt sanction of all the men together are with that. To the calling of your ministry, you're going from sheep to shepherd in mentality, in responsibility, in concept. And the transition, probably, you're going to be the most retarded when it comes to financial situations. You're just, and I appreciate that. You're going to be unable to take on that full responsibility, and it's awful. No matter what your finances are, you're handling God's money, and you are an accountable person. There's only one thing that I know that's greater, and that is, of course, the souls of your people. The rest of it, you see, this is our part in the world. So you're going to change your perspective on how money is handled, and who is running what, and what decisions are going to be made. You see, the man of the house, the man of God, he has the vision. See, this is where we're going. This why it looks like it's always going his way. It better. If he loses the vision, then we have lost our perspective. You're going nowhere. So you're going to have to get that mentality. The men that are working with you in your ministry, they have your vision. And they sense these things. And they're excited about these things. And they flow with you on these things. And you have no real problem.
If you are presenting something to the body of men, and there's a great, most of the men don't have a peace about that, they really don't agree with that or something like that, you just at that point take it to God and say, okay, God, is this definitely you? Am I online? Or what do you do with that?
Well, Johnny,
it could be that they aren't mature enough spiritually to see.
No, I can't say that. I have never taken anything to our men that wasn't unanimously accepted. See, as pastor, and we will give so-and-so reports, whatever they are. And these things are all written out, and you follow a schedule. This is just good business. Good business. And it keeps everybody knowing that you're above board. See, you can well be above board, and if you don't have financial policies understood, you may generate some suspicion, which is not good for your ministry. So open policy is best. Again, clear, concise, complete records must be kept of all financial transactions.
Brother Clark, will we have charters in Mexico or other countries?
Yes. One way of financing a church building program, you have commercial companies that are advertised in all your church or Christian magazines. How successful they are for fundraising. They cost. I don't want professional. They'll raise your money. Oh, they'll raise it. But you'll have a bunch of clipped ducks when you get through. They have got that thing down to a science. They make money by doing that. They know what they're doing. I do not want the publicans in our place. See, that's just my conviction. Bless their hearts, they can do as they please. But I would. Now, one system that they use in raising money is a bond system, just like a city or the government uses. What they will do is they'll get a company to issue the bonds. What you do, you go into debt. And your indebtedness then is going to be put into a escrow fund, and we sell bonds. Brother, you are wealthy and influential in the church. We're going to sell you a $25,000 bond. Now that's a good investment, normally. Are you with me? That kind of bond normally is a good investment. Number one, the church is going to pay for it. You'll make 8% or 12% interest on that thing, whatever this thing is. And so this is you're going to invest your money, you'll invest your $25,000 somewhere. So why not invest it in the church? This is the argument. And that's good business. The problem with the bond thing, we all buy bonds, and then they are rated maturity. But since we're a church family, this invariably happens. Since we're a church family, what happens is this brother, he's bought a $5,000 bond, and it's to mature in 8 years. But his daughter is going to college. College tuition is going up. If you were to check the price to attend for one semester at ORU, it's astronomical. Cost you about $20,000 a year. Unless you have a grant or a scholarship. It's phenomenal. Go to Yale, same thing. So his daughter is going to college. Send her to MTI.
Everything going. Well, his son went off to college, and then his daughter left, and they'd grown up and come through the church school and all that. When he felt led to go take a little church near the college where his son was going in Florida. And a lot of the people that are going to that little church, they had just bought a big hunk of property next to the church and spent a lot of money on that. Well, they put up
They're doing a service to the women. They're working. No problem. I don't have
illustration.
I've seen them tell them that they were going to wear a certain costume in the pulpit if people would do so and so. And of course they'll do it. You know, just to see them do it. I mean, just all kinds of junk. We don't need bazaars, fairs, doulas. Are you with me? I don't want cake cooks, cookie walks, and all that stuff. Pancake, $500 coming in, and you run through your mind quickly, and you're only spending $475. That's what you see, but you're not taking into consideration that your tire blew or will, or that the child's shoes are going to wear out twice as soon as you anticipated. And so you go out there and say, well, we can afford that, and that thing is going to cost $26. So we can afford that extra dollar. We just take it off from here. And you see this mentality grow. And then in 3 months, we're paying off this other 2 things. We got this hydraulic sewing machine we got on a tremendous sunshine bulb. We bought all these boxes of bulbs. Made a tremendous saving, and we're paying for them all. And so that $32 that's going to be off in June, and now you can afford that $58 note to get whatever, your scuba dive, those self-propelled water skis. Everybody needs one of those. Check your sanity out. And so you go into debt for this. Now you do that personally, or people do that personally. You don't. I better not hear that. Going into this kind of debt enforcement. But churches will do the same thing. They will. And don't put your people in bondage. A pastor who is irresponsible, since you are responsible and your staff for the money, then you cannot put your people into bondage. It's their money. They're given to the God. It's their tithe that's being used serviceably for the Lord. And so we cannot put them into bondage. This is unfair. So we watch that. I try to buy cash everything we get. Possibly. This is our goal. Now there's things you cannot buy for cash. You probably won't at first buy a school bus if you need one, or a van for your church cash. Specifically, it was reigning with the unholy trinity, the Antichrist, and the false prophet.
Now, Jesus is preparing to come back in reference to the Battle of Armageddon.
Right.
When does the gleaning rapture come in?
It's going to happen somewhere before that, before the marriage supper of the Lamb. Has to. That's chapter 16, verse 19.
Okay.
And he will rule over them with a rod of iron, and he treads the winepress of the fierce wrath of God the Almighty. And on his robe and on his thigh he has a name written, King of Assembled for the great supper of God. We're ready now for the battle of Armageddon. Let me give you a few scriptures. Joel chapter, that you may eat the flesh of the kings, the flesh of commanders, the flesh of mighty men, the flesh of horses, and those who sit upon them, the flesh of all men, both free men and slaves, and small and great. I saw the beasts of the kings of the earth dead. And just like that. We think an atomic attack would be devastating in a few microseconds. It would be. Here, it's just as powerful by the truth of God. Now, you say, how is God going to do all this? I could care less. I'm riding in the right place. I'm chugging in behind the Lord. Watch out, I'll get ahead of you. Mention of the Lord. But in prophecy, the aspect of dispensationalism, we have God creating the universe, not just the earth, the universe in 7 days. The 6th he took to get the work done. The 7th he rested and had peace or rest or repose. And so we're seeing here the history of mankind. If we take proper chronology in history, we can put Adam dating back to 6,000 BC, somewhere around there. Many people go haw and gutfall and say the world's a lot older than that. I don't have any problem with that. All I have to do is read the book, chapter 1, verse 1, and then pause between it. I find the pre-Adamic flood, and the whole bit is explained to me there. This earth, I'm understanding that. Like, didn't everybody die at this point? No. Apparently not. We're going to rule them. Hallelujah. If I'm going to rule them, there's just one under me. But they're going to be there. Jesus came, they wouldn't let him. But now he's going to rule the second time for the fullness. And he's going to do it for 1,000 years just to give us to show everybody that God can do it.
Amen.
And he will. That's the purpose.
Second reason, there was 2 reasons for the time.
Because it is the Satan who is bound, and he is bound for 1,000 years. Isaiah 24, verses 21 and 22 talks about this 1,000 years, and the devil, from whence came all the garbage up during the tribulation time, and shut it and sealed it over him, that he should not deceive the nations any longer. Now, he goes on, and let me just read down here. And I saw the thrones, and they that sat upon them. This is where I'm in Texas now. The first resurrection. This is the resurrection. Daniel says this, Matthew quotes it, is the resurrection of the just. In that general concept of resurrection, number 1, the righteous are manifest. They are there. The 2 witnesses have been raised up and resurrected and raptured, or translated to heaven. The 144, everybody else, and if I understand statistics right, the majority of the world, God help us, is going to be ready to get loosed until a short season before the end of the 1,000-year reign with Christ. This steel, they can work and make a living. But guess what? We educated. Now we don't have dumb crooks, we've got smart ones. You see, that does not change the heart or the mind.
Government finances and